The auditorium was packed as the cadets prepared for the class. The room itself was made more like a theater, a half-circle of seats divided up in different sections facing the large stage with a holographic screen above the stage, currently a projection of Professor Hargan, the famous close combat master and professor in galactic close combat history and technique. He stretched his shoulder wings and cracked his knuckles. For a human, he would look like a feathered angel with brown and gray feathers covering most of his body. His legs were thin but had 5 powerful talons. He was, after all, a professor of war, specifically close combat. Still, he was well-versed in military and history as well as strategy. He was waiting patiently for the cadets to sit down. He knew most of them wanted to become his apprentice and learn the mastery of the blade, and it made him smile at the thought. These poor souls had no idea of what they were about to learn. Welcome to this class of basic combat knowledge. In this class, we will mostly speak about child's play. And yes, I'm serious. The holograph above him changed to show a large playground with several children from different species playing and having fun. They played games like hide and seek, run from the predator and follow the leader. Professor Hargan peeked up and back at the cadets. Ah, to be young and carefree again. You can all see how they play. You might notice that different species tend to prefer different games. The Gratsu love to play follow the leader, something we can recognize in their military structure. As he spoke, the Gratsu children were highlighted on the playground. They are the most loyal and will perform any command without hesitation. An important ability on the battlefield, if the men you command are the Gratsu, expect them to follow your order to the letter. The cadets who had thought this was a joke suddenly sat up as they realized what the class was about and started scanning the playground for their own species to see what they were playing with. Professor Hargan noticed that and smirked as he let them search. So, you noticed, yes, all your species are there. And this is a live feed. That's how reliable this research about child play and adult behavior is. A soft light was turned on in one of the sections, and Professor Hargan looked at the Oglish section. This species looked like a bipedal with 2 arms and 2 curled horns, and was known for its direct and aggressive play. The children usually played games of charge. There were a few on the playground. He looked at his pad and called up the cadet. Yes, Cadet Snarg? What is the question? The cadet's face replaced the hologram as he stood up. An impressive specimen of his race. What about our enemies? Can this be used to predict their behavior as well? Let's say I am tasked with attacking the Chandrius. Would studying their most common children's game help me devise a battle plan? Very good, yes, absolutely. The Chandrius love to play games of confusion. But there is a logic to their games. How they move to appear larger or smaller than what they are based on their children's games. They also prefer the shadow game, so they excel in sneak attacks. Another light lit up, and he turned to the Harrod, an avian species like himself, with 6 limbs and a short beak-like nose. Yes, Cadet Gorgon? What about the humans? The room went quiet at the word. Humans, the only single species who could fight the whole Galactic Confederation to a standstill. The one who was feared by all species, and all officers hoped they didn't have to fight. Professor Hargan cited. They are the last species we will talk about, but from your reaction we can just skip to it. It's, after all, the most important part of this lesson. What you will learn about the human's childhood play will be divided into 3 sections. Early childhood games, adolescent years, and finally sports and adult games. Yes, the adult games will involve their strange mating rituals. The cadets were getting excited at this, and as he started the hologram again, the cadets got disappointed as they yet again saw their youngling playing on the playground. He chuckled. Yes, we start here. Look at the playground. On the ground, you will notice sticks. As he spoke, the sticks were lit up. There were quite a few different lengths. And as you see, most children ignore them. Ah, he smiled. Somebody is building a nest. Isn't that cute? Now let's see what happens on a human playground. The hologram changed into an identical playground but empty. This playground is located in a human world. They are free humans that have allowed us to do this. It's a joint research of galactic species in early childhood. Of course, we also use this to learn more about them as they are learning about us. It's an identical playground, and as you can see, sticks are also on the ground. You might wonder why that's important. Well, now we will introduce 30 human children from the ages 5 to 10 years. As he spoke, they saw the children streaming into the playground, exploring the different things. Some were playing tag, others were playing hide and seek and so forth. But a boy spotted the sticks and picked it up, lifting it with a big grin. Another boy quickly grabbed a stick and repeated the motion, and the two boys started to fence. The cadets began to murmur. He stopped the hologram just as one boy was about to strike his friend in the head while his friend was trying to stab his foot. Yes, this is one of their games. You saw they played all our typical games, but they also played with sticks like swords. Remember that. All humans have a basic understanding of how to use a sword, dagger, axe, or spear, only because they played with sticks pretending they were real weapons as a child. The hologram continued, and the strike landed. Another kid joined in, and they watched how it suddenly turned from a duel of 2 to a group fight of 8 children, 5 boys and 3 girls. Suddenly, one of the boys drops his stick and wrestles down an opponent to the ground. At this moment, an adult human shouts and moves towards the children. The children stopped and the fighting ended. After correcting the children, the adult checks them for damage and leaves. The kids look at each other, grin, and start again. Professor Hargan stops the hologram. As you noticed, not only do they have a basic understanding of armed melee combat from a young age, they also have a natural basic knowledge of unarmed combat and show respect to elders, for us which means rank. They are trained in combat as games from childhood and do not need to learn it. It's a natural part of them. This is the predator in them, but they also grouped up so they know how to work as a herd. And they are able to identify something to be used as a weapon pretty simple. There was a short silence before a cadet requested to ask a question. Yes, Cadet Jarnus? The Oglish cadet looked shocked but also curious. But why did the child drop the stick and use his fist instead of the weapon? If I had to guess, I would say the child felt the opponent didn't follow the rule and he wanted to really hurt him. What you saw there was anger. Later, you will learn about what humans call berserk rage. This is perhaps the childhood version of it. The child was probably blinded by rage and feeling he needed to stop the person who, in his mind, cheated. As you will notice, humans hate cheaters. If you fight them, don't cheat. Trick them and they will be impressed. Cheat and you get. Well, you just saw what happened. They will go from playing fair to wanting to destroy you utterly. They will only stop if somebody else stops them, somebody they respect more than the insult of you cheating. That has to be a human, just as you know, and that human has to let them pound you a little before they can stop them. So, being clever will earn their respect. Cheat, and well, it was nice knowing you. To borrow a human phrase. The class of cadets was silent, contemplating just how crazy this was. Even the Hellworld species didn't have their children actively playing combat at such an early age. The early age was focused on defense and survival. Not aggressive and just, what were these monsters that went by the name of humans? Professor Hargan looked over the class. I think we should stop here, and tomorrow we will go over the games during the adolescent years. This is when most of us learn the art of combat. You might be surprised by what they focus on. Class dismissed. Before he left, he turned on the hologram again, showing the human children. Some idiot had given the kids 2 grates of Nerf guns, and the cadets watched in horror as 7 to 10-year-olds were involved in what could only be described as 2 armed forces in full-out war, all accompanied by children laughing while barking orders like a veteran drill instructor. As he left the room, Professor Harkan thought he saw a few fainted cadets. He would have to address this tomorrow.